Good morning. I am Dr. P.A. Ganti, Assistant Professor of English, Government First Grade Women's College, Belagavi. In this session today, I am going to discuss about Letter to His Daughter by Narayan Murthy. As we knew about, reading success stories of greatest professionals stimulates motivational enzyme within us, and we all wish to emulate them on our path of success. In the letter, which has been published in Sudha Menon's book Legacy, Letter from Eminent Parents to Their Daughters, Murthy articulates how Akshata's birth changed his life. He says, "Your birth raised the benchmark of my life in every aspect." Most often we see mothers giving meaningful advice to their daughters. We forget that fathers love their children just as much and want the best for them from life. Fatherhood changes a man as much motherhood transforms a woman. This is precisely what Infosys founder Narayan Murthy experienced when he became a dad to a beautiful girl, Akshata. In his letter, which he penned a while ago, Murthy expressed his gratitude over how his daughter made him a better man. He traces his journey from being a king of an empire to the doting father he became. The world knows Narayan Murthy as the co-founder of Infosys. But as you read extracts of his letter to his daughter from Sudha Menon's new book, you will see a different side. A caring father, an indulgent grandfather, and someone who weighs in on the importance of mothers. The courtesy of this goes to extracted from letter from Legacy, the Sudha Menon, with permission from Penguin Random House, India. It is common saying that a daughter is her father's favorite, and though your brother might refuse to agree to that fact, or your father may try claiming that he loves both of you equally, it's given that a father-daughter relationship is indeed very special. But even then, we don't tend to associate the birth of a daughter as a life changing event for a father, when actually it completely changes their perspective towards life, among other things. So in the story somewhere it said, a regular April evening in Mumbai in 1980 suddenly became special for me. I received the much awaited news of your birth. In those days we could not afford a telephone at home, and my then colleague Arvind Kher came all the way from our office in Nariman Point to our house in Baroda to tell me what your mother had delivered you back in Hubli, her hometown. "Oh, how does it feel to be a father?" asked Arvind. I replied that for the first time in my life, I felt the compelling need to become a better person. For now there was someone in whose eyes I could do no wrong. Someone for whom I would always be a hero. Someone whose life would be shaped by my actions. I told him I felt a sense of awesome responsibility. I suppose Arvind could see that becoming a father had completely overwhelmed me. So we can see here fatherly love is something intangible and not exactly translatable into written words. Being born into a poor family did not deter Narayan Murthy from pursuing his dreams. This is what we can learn from Narayana Murthy's determination to succeed. Anyone can rise in education and career if he or she puts his mind and heart to it. Lack of financial resources is not an excuse for a dull career. Somewhere William Shakespeare once said, "It is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in us." Similarly, just because one is born into a poor family does not mean that he or she will remain poor and unsuccessful for the rest of her life. If we are passionate about changing our future, our dreams will definitely come true. Life is full of changes. We all make mistakes, but it is important to learn from them and rise in our academic and professional lives. So through this letter, Narayana Murthy gives valuable parenting tips for the fathers. While mother always get appreciated for the sacrifices and pains they have taken to raise their kids, seldom do we talk about what the father goes through and how fatherhood changes a man. And who would be better to come out in the open about those feelings than Infosys founder Narayana Murthy? The IT baron has written a moving letter to his daughter Akshata, which is filled with the parenting tips that could be valuable life lessons for all kids. So in the entire letter, we can see six important points. The first point we can see here: fatherhood makes a man more sensitive. Mr. Murthy begins the letter with the fact that fatherhood makes a man more sensitive and also helps raise the benchmark of his life in every aspect. And so he writes, "Becoming a father transformed me in a ways that I could never have thought possible. I was no more just a husband, a son, or a promising employee of a fast-growing company. Your birth raised the benchmark of my life. In every aspect of my interactions at the workplace become more thoughtful and measured. The quality of my transactions with the outside world more considerate, dignified, and mature. I felt a need to deal with every human being more sensitively and courteously," he writes about very beautifully here. So he discusses what changes he had. Very birth, her Akshata's birth brought many changes in his life. So the father, to reach the expectations of daughter, that he started thinking about it. And attitude become considerate here, dignified, mature, sensitive kind of life. He started thinking and how to live. That was a passion. It becomes. Second point, if we see here, parenting can be tough for fathers too. While a lot is said about how mothers find it tough to deal with kids and their everyday problems, Murthy in his letter says that when his daughter was born, he realized that it was a difficult task to nurture a child and manage careers side by side. So that he said, "My mind often goes back to the initial days after your birth. Your mother and I were young then and struggling to find our feet in our careers. 2 months after your birth in Hubli, we brought you to Mumbai, but discovered quickly enough that. So we decided that you would spend the initial years of your life with your grandparents in Hubli. Naturally, it was a hard decision to make, one which took me quite a bit of time to come to terms with. Every weekend I would take the plane to Belgaum and then hire a car to Hubli. It was very expensive, but then also I could do somehow seeing you, he writes in his letter. And in this is why he was going to Hubli again and again, because Akshata created her own little world in Hubli. Thirdly, we can see here, fathers should let mothers take the lead. While he is often asked about the qualities that he has inculcated in his skits, Murthy says that is what his wife who shouldered his great responsibility. She taught Rohan and you the importance of simplicity and austerity. There was this one instance in Bangalore when you were selected for a school drama for which you were required to wear a special dress. It was in the mid 80s. Infosys had just begun its operations and we did not have any money to spend on non-basic goods. Your mother explained to you that we would not be able to buy the dress and that you would have to drop out of the performance. Later, you told me that you had not been able to understand or appreciate that incident, he mentions in his letter. So in their daily routine, unnecessary expenses were cut. Rohan and Akshata went to school every day in rickshaw. And the fourth point is, the simplest things in life are often the happiest and they are for free. What's worth nothing, what's worth noting is the fact that Narayan Murthy and his wife continue to live simple lives even after being the founders of the most successful Indian IT company in the world. So life has changed. So he mentions, life has changed for us since then and there is enough money. But our lifestyle continues to be simple. I remember discussing with your mother the issue of sending you kids to school by car once we were a little comfortable with money. But your mother insisted that Rohan and you go to school with your classmates in the regular auto rickshaw. You made great friends with the rickshaw uncle and had fun with the other kids in the auto. The simplest things in life are often the happiest and they are for free. So what a beautiful kind of suggestions he had given, and it was practiced to their children as well. That we can, simplest things we can see here in the life. So normally, today's in the today's world, what we do is, whoever is having money, they go with the cars, they all the facilities they provide to their children. But here we can learn from Sudha Murthy and from his family, that how they wanted to give a knowledge and how to live with the people, that also they given to Akshata and Rohan. And the fifth point, if we go through it, spending quality time with the whole family is a must. Another important parenting tip this is that Narayan Murthy talks about in his letter is the importance of spending quality time with your kids and as a family altogether. Today we see more and more families spending a lot of time watching television shows, even when they are having their meals. While TV is a good form of entertainment, there is no doubt about it, but nothing can be more interesting for a family than talking to each other or discussing what you did during the day. Not only would it help strengthen your bond as a family, it would also help you understand each other better. He writes in his letter, you would often ask me why there was no television at our home when the rest of your friends discussed stuff they watched on TV. Your mother decided early on that there would be no TV in our home so that there would be time for things like studying, reading, discussions, and meeting friends. She insisted that it was important to create an environment conductive to learning at home. Therefore, every night we dedicated the time between 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. to pursuits that brought the family together in a productive environment, while Rohan and you did your schoolwork, your homework. Your mother and I read books on history, literature, physics, mathematics, and engineering, or did any office work, he says. He is telling to his daughter what kind of environment they have created. And that is the life which really we go through, really we should practice every day. So in between, it is Akshata's married life, married with Rishi. So Murthy, obviously any father or mother, they felt very sad, and sometimes father, he feels jealous too. Rishi was brilliant, handsome, and honest, and Krishna, daughter of Akshata and Rishi, that is their family, which the same practice of Murthy, whatever he had given a values to them, that was practiced in a remaining life of Akshata. Next, the sixth point, which is very important and the last point of the text, what I can say here, it is also important to be a responsible parent. Mr. Murthy ends the letter with a very important message, which is to be wary of the environmental problems that we are facing and how all of us should make sure that we teach our kids to save the earth from them. So he concludes with the words like, as you pursue your goals and live a contented life, remember that there is only one planet for us to live in, and that planet is now becoming endangered. Remember that it is your responsibility to pass on this planet to Krishna in a better condition than you got it from us. He concludes like this. So we can see over here not only values from the house, from the education, from the where he was working, he cares about environment too. That we can see here in the throughout text, which is Letter to His Daughter, written by Narayan Murthy. Thank you one and all.